Good morning. This is Jordan Bennett with Jordan Bennett and Associates at Keller Williams Realty, and I wanted to talk with you a little bit today about how to get your home ready for sale. Actually, really what I'm going to talk about is what I think is the #1 thing where sellers leave a tremendous amount of money on the table. And where they're leaving money on the table is in doing some of the most basic things that you can do to really get a home kind of beautified for photography, to get buyers in the door, and to sell the home for the most money possible. What I hear a lot when I sit down with a seller and I say, hey, we're going to talk about getting your home ready for sale. And they say, you know what, we don't want to spend any money, we don't want to put in carpet because what if we pick the wrong one and they just tear it out anyways? What if we paint our green room a color that the buyer doesn't like anyways, and they're just going to change it? No, you're wrong. I'm generally very diplomatic, and I think that there's everything is gray to an extent, and a case can be made for both sides. On this case, I don't think that's true. I think, as I always say, there's a reason. If you ever walk through a model home community, you go and look at Baker Ranch, or you go and look at some of the new home communities in Irvine or Rancho Mission Viejo, you're going to see that the builders have literally invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in over-the-top upgrades and furniture and art. Now you might ask, why would they spend so much money in those things? Because the reality is that a buyer is not getting most of those upgrades unless they pay the premium for them. They're definitely not getting that furniture, and they're not getting that art. So why not just kind of have pictures of the homes and say, hey, here's what you're getting, or paint them green and put cottage cheese on the ceiling. They don't do that because they know that the impression that a home makes on a buyer is so important, because the reality is that buyers make decisions. We all actually make decisions emotionally and then justify them rationally. So what that means is the impression that a home makes on a buyer is incredibly important. And a buyer makes a decision in about 10 to 15 seconds of walking through the door if this home has potential for them, if it's a candidate. So, is it possible that you could pick the wrong color carpet or the wrong color paint and that there's a buyer that's going to tear it out anyways? Absolutely. But if you're catering to the majority and you're staying neutral and you're making that home to appeal essentially to 80% of the crowd out there versus the green walls you have now and the old seafoam green carpet, which maybe will only appeal to 3 or 4% of the population, which one would you rather be? Would you rather appeal to the 80% on the off chance that maybe the 20% that didn't like it is going to tear it out? Of course, that's what makes a lot more sense, because you want to have as many eyes on that property for whom it's a candidate, so you have the highest chance of getting offers, maybe even more than one offer, and have that ability to get the most money for your home. So one of the things I'm really passionate about is helping sellers position their home to sell, doing that cost-benefit analysis to determine where it makes sense to invest a little bit of money in the home and where it doesn't, so that at the end of the day you can put the most money in your pocket. So if you're considering putting your home on the market and you'd like to get some advice on how best to prepare for that moment, please reach out to me. I'm happy to help. Thanks.